Hello there, my name is Adam. I'm a 3D artist and illustrator, and today we're going to make another RPG room, slash fantasy room. It's more of an castle type style, but here. Okay, go to Edit, go to Preferences, go to Add-ons, search for Loop. There we go, turn that on. Search Extra, and do Extra Mesh Objects. Then go to Input, turn on Emulate 3-button mouse, go to Navigation, turn on Depth, leave Perspective, Key Mapping, turn on Tab for Pie menu, and Pie menu on drag, don't need to turn that on. Extra Shading Pie menu, turn that on. Then you go here and save preferences. Close it. If you ever need hotkeys, they're down here. And now we do Shift A, and we do Image Reference, and we just grab the one that says Fantasy Voxel Room 3. Make sure to disactivate Align to View, and load reference image. Rotate it in the x-axis 90, gx, and gy. To move it back, scale it down, gy, and you'll be left with something like this. Alright, let's click on this, edit, face selection, select these faces here, X, and do faces. There you go. And now go over to modifiers, and let's add a solidify modifier. Change the thickness to 0.09. There you go. And make it even thickness. We don't apply it yet, but there. Another one we need to apply is a bevel modifier. And we change that to 0.03. Or let's do a 2 instead. Maybe less, 0.01. And we add a 3. There we go. And we leave them like that. We don't need to apply the modifier. And that's mainly for when you do 1 like this, just to see the edge like this. 3 as well, to see the wall. And 7 to see the edge of the wall here. But there. Alright. And just so you know, we are going to be modifying this a little bit by adding like a little gap here later. But for now, we're not going to add that. And we're also going to add like a lot of detail to the edge. But there. Alright, the next thing we gotta do is make a few of these things on the floor and maybe these objects here. Personally, I'm gonna start making these. So, okay, I'm too right now. I'm constantly salivating. Okay, at least I have, let's do Shift A, Mesh, and let's add a cube. Let's scale it down, and we're going to make this one that's in the corner. So, let's try to get it a little close. G, just move it a little closer like that. Scale this down, G, edit. And now we do face selection. We select this face here, this face, and this face here. The one that's pointed at the wall, we don't really need to add details to. But here, let's press I again, and there you go. We're left with a shape like this. Let's make a shape go in like that. Extrude inwards, holding Shift a little bit. Then I again. Right click, extrude faces along normals. Just a little bit. I again. Only do it inwards a lot. To like about there. Extrude faces along normals, just a little bit to about there. Perfect. And there you go. After that, we can just do edge selection. Select these edges here and do Control B to bevel. Add more like round shapes to it and bevel it like right there. Perfect. And you can do that to the other ones as well. Edge selection. Just double click this and this, Control B, and there you go. Now, the other thing we have to do is add these little details here. So let's just do face selection, select these faces here, do I, make it go inwards like that, press Control R, press 1, Control R again, and put it like about here. The other ones seem to be square, so there's no need for that one. Control R, add a loop about there. Alright, face selection. Let's select these, this, and this, and right click extrude faces along normals, and extrude them outwards, like that. Do edge selection by selecting all the faces like this, edge selection, and do Control B. And it should bevel them like this. There you go. And that should add extra detail to this. If anything, you can add another loop around here somewhere. So just face selection and just do, I don't know, Control R or something, or scale this outwards. I don't really mind if I change the style up a little bit. Let me just select these, extrude faces along normals, and extrude them slightly, like that. And that should add like an extra little bit of detail, and that should be it for this little drawer looking thing. I don't really know what it is, but we can scale this in the Z-axis, make it a little shorter like this, Shift A, mesh, and the cube, scale it down, or scale it up, scale it in the Y-axis, or Z-axis, press 1, G, put it in place, scale it up, about there, GY, press 3 if you need to, GY, there you go. You can scale it in the Z, GZ, you can scale it down a bit till it fits, GX, scale it down, perfect. And now, we can add this top bit to it. So, let's just select this, do edit, do Control R, like this, do it again, and do it one more time right next to this. Let me do edge selection, select this edge here, right, and just scale it down like this, select this edge, GZ, push it down like that, select this edge only, GZ, and move it up. Let me select these edges here, Control B to bevel them. Let me select this edge and these ones, Control, actually let me select the back one, actually no, let's do Control B on these. That should add like a tiny little gap between them. Edit, let's do face selection, select this, I, GZ, make it bevel inwards, I again, we make the little center bit, scale it down if you need to, extrude it upwards, do face selection, like this, I, and we just make it small like that. Right click, extrude faces along normals, to about there, and then we're going to add a few items here, and that should be pretty much it. But all in all, this is like the piece of furniture that looks really strange. I like how it looks though. It looks interesting at least. Let's select both, do Control J, scale it down, or scale it up optionally. And now we have to add those little legs to it. So let's do Shift A, mesh, cylinder, scale it down. And now we have to make those legs connect to this somehow. To do that, all we have to do is scale it down even more. Edit, Control R, or actually, yeah, let's do Control R here. Let's do face selection, select the bottom face, scale it up, extrude, extrude again, scale that up to about there, extrude, extrude again, scale it in. And there we go, we have the bottom of the foot. Let's do GZ on this to make it longer. And then let's do Control R, add a loop right about here. Let's select the faces. So let's go face selection. And the faces that are going this way. And extrude to connect them like this. And there we go. Scale it down. Let's do 7, G, and put it like about there. Let's do GZ to connect it to the thing. And let's see how that looks. We can always rotate it. Zoom in. Rotate it a bit. There we go. G, Look at it from here. GZ. There you go. And we have one of the legs. Now all we have to do is do Shift D. Or rather, no, let's not do that. Control Z. Add a modifier to this. Let's add a mirror modifier. Well, first, let's do Control A and all transforms. Now we add a mirror modifier. It should put it somewhere around like here or so. Let's do Apply, Edit, select this, do Control L to select everything, P, and Selection. Let's do Deselect, deselect the background, G, X, and put it in place like that. Make sure they're at the same angle, like about there. Let's select both, Control J, add a modifier. Instead of X, let's do it in the Y-axis. Let's click on Apply, Edit, select these, Control L, P, select G, Y, and put them in the same position as the other one. And there you go. Now it has all the legs. Let's just shift these, Control J. And done. We have our little piece of furniture. The only thing that's missing is on the bottom. So let's just do face selection. Select these faces here. I. Press I again so these parts join. Make it go inwards a little bit. Extrude downwards. And that should be it. Perfect. And we can leave it at that. Select both. And now we can scale it down and put it in the corner. Let's press 7, G, put it somewhere around here. And let's try to get the shape accurate. Let's scale it up a little. GX and GZ. Move it down slightly until it touches the floor. Perfect. And there we go. We have our piece of furniture. At least the first one. And it looks really weird. It looks like an artifact, to be honest. But hey, that's the idea. It's mostly magical when it comes to a lot of these objects. So yeah, we're going to make some weird things that don't make much sense. Alright. The next thing we're going to do is this right here. It's going to be a stand for like a very strong candle, it seems. With like a very, I guess, in pixely flame, I guess you could call it. We're going to add those as little particles. We're not going to use a particle generator because that would take too long, but we're going to add them semi by hand to make them look exactly like in the reference at least. So let's start making this. It should be pretty simple. It's simple shapes. Let's do Shift A, Mesh, Cube, scale it down. And let's start adding these shapes here. So first, I want to make the center bit. So let's just scale this in the Z-axis, like this. There you go. Let's put it at an angle like this. Scale it in the X-axis. Edit. Face selection, select this face. I, make it go inwards. Extrude. Not too much. To about there. Extrude again. To about like right here. Face selection. Let me just select these faces like this. Right click. Extrude faces along normal. And put them somewhat at the same level right there. And on top of this, we have to make another one. So let's make the side ones as well. Let's do Shift A, Mesh, Cylinder, scale that down. Let's do GY to put it on the sides. Except this one is more on the front bit. Let's send a little bit more. GX and put one here. Scale it in the Z-axis. GZ. And the edge of this circle is like right there. Let's do Edit. Face select and select this. I make it go inwards a bit like this. And I noticed that it has a few little stray pieces, so let me do face selection.